morning, ladies and gentlemen. We are coming to you from a different time, a different place. I am at a no free ads national coffee chain, and we are going to go through our roundtable today. We've got the entire gamut of analysts with us. We've got Eric, Justin, Paul, and Ian. And let's just get straight into it, Eric. We are going to be facing Arizona State, who has been very vocal with their confidence in this game. And I've seen that Sam is not Sam. Oh my God, I went with Elliger there. I've seen with Ewers is Sam Ewers is going with taking the high road a little bit. Where is the team on this? What are your sources telling you? What's the vibes?
Yeah, every time this happens, and it's happened a couple times. Even last year is even worse because they taunted Tavondre Sweat and Byron Murphy. They have their outward approach and then they have their inward approach. Now, make no mistake that this is certainly fodder being used, bulletin board material, motivation. I don't think it matters as much with Quinn Ewers, but certainly the defense is seeing red. The outward appearance is just a whole lot more different. The way Sark is with public is a lot different than how he is privately. He fires them up and uses it. I don't think they really needed extra motivation because so much is on the line. This could potentially be the last game of the season. They're not even. I wouldn't say they're even close to reaching their goals yet. They would be satisfied with a run at the quarterfinals. So. I don't know that was the smartest things from Arizona State, but it'll all come down to execution and stopping the run game no matter what. The Scatabo and Levitt definitely put bigger targets on them than already existed.
So when is there anything – obviously how would you rate their level of confidence going into this? Because I know that you said that obviously they've got a very high expectations on these things. And what we've been talking about quite a bit is the fact that they obviously really haven't played to their ceiling yet. Where do you feel they are right now in terms of going into this?
Well, I think they have a lot of confidence. They feel, a lot of things that the analysts see and that, I guess Vegas sees is that they just have a lot of advantages, size, talent, depth. That's on the lines. The trenches are lean towards Texas. The playmakers, Texas has more playmakers. There's a lot more reasons to put your money or your confidence on Texas than just how you get enthralled with Cinderella. Now Arizona State is playing well. They've got clear identity. They've got good coaching, but Texas has confidence everywhere from offense, defensive line, special teams. Feels like they're going to make some plays. I haven't really heard much confidence on special teams this entire season. Now, that doesn't mean punting is going to be great. I don't want to hear that Eric said punting, that special teams would be good, and then the punter goes and kicks a couple clunkers. But they feel like they can get back to their playmaking ways on special teams as well. So I would say confidence is really high, but they still know that they have to go out and do it.
We're going to get into our predictions and hear from the rest of the boys, but let's hear from one of our favorite people right now.
Hi, I want to tell you about Laura Baker. If you're looking for a new home in the 512 or even at this point, let's face it, 737 area code, there's only one number to call. That's Laura Baker at 512-784-0505. As a member of the elite Andy Allen team with Keller Williams, Laura has helped Longhorns find the home of their dreams in Central Texas. Just ask our resident sex symbol, Ian Boyd, who moved all the way from Michigan to Texas with Laura's help. Laura can help you find what you're looking for in the 512, the 737, or even parts of the 254 and the 210. Just, give her a call at 512-784-0505. Her email is in the description as well as the rest of her contact details. She's a friend. Give her a call.
We are honored to be joined by Uncle Vance this morning. Thank you, Vance, for joining us. Vance says, Texas O-line plays physical. Texas wins big, and if they don't, it will be close. Let's go with you, Justin. How are you feeling about this game? I'd love to get your thoughts and your prediction going into this.
Yeah, so Arizona State is supremely confident, as we kind of thought that going into this, and then they started talking, and so they confirmed what we thought. There's a lot of confidence here. These guys are riding high. I think they're playing the best football of the season. They've got one like opponent, Mississippi State, which I think they both played in September, early October for Texas. And so, man, like Eric said, like Vegas knows this thing. It's the lines of scrimmage. It's the depths of charts. It's all these things that kind of lean towards Texas, but you got to play this game. This running back, Cam Scatabo, is a bowling ball of knives. He is hell. But Texas has faced these kind of guys before. This defensive front, this isn't anything they haven't seen in the last few years. It's just – it's what you would expect of a team making a quarterfinal that was picked last in their own conference. Like, that's kind of the big turnaround of this group this year. Kenny Dillingham coming from Oregon has been great. The infusion of transfers they've had have clicked for the most part. A lot of former Texas kids, a lot of former recruits that we've been covering. But again, I honestly feel like Clemson was kind of a tougher. I hate saying that before they play because they still have to play the game. But I feel like Clemson would be a tougher matchup. I feel like Clemson matches up better. I feel like quarterback play is a little bit better with Clemson and Cade Klubnik. And so, in a sense, I kind of feel like last week a little bit. I feel like Texas kind of on paper has the better team. But, man, this Arizona State team is playing with a lot of bravado right now. Their quarterback, their running back, their coaches. Man, I look at their sizes on the line of scrimmage, and buddy, they don't match up with the other teams Texas has played this year. And I think when it comes to the meat and potatoes, Arizona State's confidence might be waning a little bit on New Year's Day.
Where do you see this landing in terms of the score today?
I think the Sharps have it right. I think I have 38-20. So, yeah, that's 18. What's the line right now? 14. I think 12.5 is the line right now. And so, I think it's 2 touchdowns. And I hate saying that because it is a college football playoff game. These games are going to get closer once you get to the quarterfinals, semifinals, things of that sort. But, man, I look at the line of scrimmage, and I think Texas could bully Arizona State if they want to.
Eric, Paul, we're going to go to you, but I want to really quickly, Eric, jump to this because this is something that is a little bit unique that's been happening, and that is our early enrollees and some of our transfers are with the team right now. And if you can explain a little bit about how that works. Brett's making a joke here saying, can we sneak Justin Perry and Lance Jackson into the game in the fourth? But this to me, at least in my experience, seems pretty unique, having this opportunity for these young bucks to get some practice experience.
Yeah, I don't think you can sneak those guys on the field because they look so out of place.
Right.
They're full-grown men, future first-round draft pick potential body types that just look a lot different. But now, unfortunately, that would be crazy if you could bring in true freshmen or transfers even to bolster your playoff roster. That would be wild. Sadly, they're not going to be able to play.
So moving over to you, Paul, we've talked a lot about Cam Scadaboo, and I think, the 2 things that really jump out is he's got an amazing neck beard and he's built like a Pixar mom. Total absolute body weight is lower distribution, low center of gravity. Yeah, he's built like a Pixar mom. He's got a big ass. What is your take on this game? Where do you see this going?
Made me think of the mom, and was it the Fantastics?
No, the Incredibles. She's
the Incredibles. Sorry, yeah.
Low center of gravity, that lady.
Hey, I like that mom. The thing, I watched a lot of Arizona State scouting them. I'd watched a little of them during the year, but I really got into it. Man, you come away with a ton of respect for them because of their maximization, just across the board, and on offense, on defense. They play really hard. One thing that's notable, I think Justin's right. Clemson is the more talented team. They certainly have more NFL guys, but Clemson doesn't play as hard as Arizona State does, and they don't play as cohesively. I was saying going into playing Clemson that they're less than the sum of their parts in some places, and that was pretty clear after we played them on defense. And Arizona State's more than the sum of their parts. They really do play well. However, Cinderella didn't have a great debut with the ball in the opening round of the NCAA playoffs. And the big issue we saw with some of these teams like Indiana with SMU is the inability to scale against better athletes, just the types of humans that they're not used to playing and encountering. And Arizona State, as well as they've played, and they've beaten several average to good teams, like BYU is a pretty good team, they haven't encountered sort of the level of athletes that they're going to play against Texas. And all the talk about Arizona State being cohesive and achieving and playing hard, Texas plays really hard. Texas is
right.
They're not underachieving. And so I think there's some problems. The other issue fundamentally with Arizona State, aside from the size up front and some of those disparities, they don't have pass rush. If you're crazy quick up front but undersized, you could still pose problems for the big boys because they're not used to dealing with that kind of athlete. Arizona State can't get an honest pass rush. And if they blitz, it's usually an auto blitz by game plan based on something that you did on offense. Right. So I have a post on Inside Texas. For those of you who aren't members, you need to go join for the best Longhorn content. But I have one right now illustrating one of their rare sacks where they actually got a targeting on Rocco Becht. But it was triggered by an empty set auto blitz where it's a very simple just they have a D lineman on the blitz side work across two guys' face, and they both take him and leave the blitzer absolutely free while they have two guys jump on the short release route. That was clearly an auto blitz. It was triggered by the formation. It wasn't even a play call. And Arizona State does a lot of stuff like that. They have little cheat codes. And what I think I like about Sark is that he understands that. He's not just going to go out there and be like, we're going to run our stuff. He's going to play with some of those keys. He's going to play with some of their cheats, and he's going to jujitsu it and turn it against them. And so I think that's going to be a key thing to watch in this game. Also, Quinn Ewers, he's going to stand for a long time in a clean pocket and get a choice of where to throw the ball. And so the key is to not let some of their coverages and some of their games fool us. And if they don't, if they're not able to, Texas is going to be able to run the ball, and Texas will be able to throw the ball. The great Vance Bedford asked, how much does ASU zone blitz? A little bit. They're actually a low blitz team, Vance, about a quarter of the time, pretty low. And when they do blitz, as I said, it's usually something in your offensive scheme or your lineup that they've seen on film that they're auto blitzing because they think they can predict your play. But even when they blitz, they don't get pressure. They're not a good pressure football team. And one thing Texas is really good at is preventing pressure. And that's a good thing because when Quinn Ewers, not necessarily great under pressure, but when he's got a clean pocket and a clean look, the ball gets out there, and it's been getting out there better and better every week as he feels healthier and more confident.
So with Quinn and a clean pocket, where do you see this score landing?
35-14 Texas.
There we go. There we've got it. 35-14 Texas coming from Paul. All right, we're going to move over to Ian. Now, Ian, you were less than positive last week. I'm curious if maybe the holiday spirit has gotten into you. See a new year on the horizon. Maybe a new year, new Ian. Is this? Do you have a better outlook toward this week than you did last week?
Well, new year, new opponent, right? I agree with Paul. Clemson had some stars across their team. They had a bunch of dudes that were NFL players. And I thought with the extra focus and couple weeks to prepare, they would be a little better on defense than they were. They were not. So easy win for Texas. Well, maybe not easy win, but good win for Texas. This week, I just don't see it for Arizona State. I had it. What did I have? 34-17.
Yeah, like loads of confidence. I like that about you.
That score.
There's so much clarity here.
I think maybe Arizona State, 17 is kind of a lot, but I feel like maybe they score early on script. Maybe they score late at the end of the game when it's already out of hand. I think Texas could score a lot more than that, but Sark usually, he doesn't, once he gets up to like 30 with this defense, he'll just sit on the ball and let the clock run. So Sark's not really in the
Yeah,
Coach Bedford with some
he's coaching him up, Ian.
I appreciate it. Yeah, Sark's not really in the blow teams out kind of. It's not really his style.
So moving over to this, so we've got 34-17 coming from Ian. But before we get to your thoughts here, I want to go to Brett Nelson, and this is mainly, I would have opened this up to the group, but we'll start with you, Eric. Obviously, UGA, after our last game with them, they're depleted a little bit with some injuries. Obviously, their starting quarterback, Carson Beck, is out. He has declared for the NFL draft. He's going to get himself ready for that post-surgery, I believe he's had. So do we see Georgia making it out of their side of the bracket? Let's start with you, Eric.
Well, I think they are. That's a bracket you can win with rocks and sticks rather than rockets. I think it sets up well for them to get out of it based on the opponents that they have ahead of them. They're a better version of Notre Dame. Now, it does set up pretty well for Penn State to have a chance. This is not the Georgia, outside of when Georgia played Texas and Tennessee, any of the UT teams, they look beatable. But I would lean on Georgia getting out of the bracket.
Any disagreement there, boys?
No,
Actually, I've got Notre Dame. I've got Notre Dame winning that.
I know Ian's got Notre Dame, unless that's changed.
it's changing a little bit. They lost
Yeah.
Riley Mills. They lost Riley Mills, which I think is a pretty big deal. I want to say Georgia. I just need to see, Stockton over a full game. And also,
Have you still not gotten coffee? Vance
What is
told
going
you
on,
to get
man?
some coffee. Vance told you 5 minutes ago to get you some coffee.
I had
Just
two
some
cups.
amphetamines, Ian.
This is me with 2 cups of coffee.
All
I want to see
right.
their punter.
God.
They have a freshman punter that was like a blue chip. As far
That
as
is
punters
crazy.
go. And I want to see how he looks. Texas has had a couple of those that weren't so good as freshmen.
Oh, yeah.
Y'all are laughing.
All right.
We all know it's a big deal. If Georgia has another great punter, their odds of winning the championship do go up.
Well, I do think in this game there's probably going to be about 12 punts between Notre Dame and Georgia.
Yes, it's going to be low scoring.
I
Take
think
the
it's going to
under.
be a super tight game. I'm not sure who wins, but I favor Georgia slightly. But I don't think they're getting out of that side. And if they do, I think third time might be the charm if we can advance into the championship game. Honestly, I think the winner of our semifinal bracket with Texas, Oregon, Ohio State, I think they're winning it all.
Man, the idea the idea of Ian partying with the Owls cracks me up, man. That's
Coach, I don't know what you're doing. I hope you're living a great life, but you are welcome on here anytime you want, man. Just hit up Eric. This is absolutely your domain. Let's start with you. Let's go back to you, Eric. Let's finish this out. Where do you see this game going, and give us your prediction?
I have the same score as Ian, 34-17. Who knows how it's going to look? We don't know if it's going to be over in the fourth quarter or if Texas is fighting to keep it a 2-score game like we saw versus Clemson. You just never know with the way Texas can play erratically in the second half, it seems like. But again, I really like the defensive line against their offensive line. I think Texas has had a run of good practices, a team-wide defense. Good run fits from the linebackers and the D-line. We'll keep the secondary out of one-on-ones with Scatabo, which I think is one of the keys to the game. Just too many advantages. Just look at the advantages that Texas has, and I think it's an easy pick. Doesn't mean we'll be right. Doesn't mean they'll cover. But if you look at it, just from the matchups, it favors Texas pretty obviously.
We want to encourage you to join us over at Inside Texas. We are running the silly sale right now. It's $1 for 7 days. Go ahead and check that out. Hopefully those 7 days will include some more playoff opportunities for the University of Texas. So join us at InsideTexas.com and stay on this channel. Just in a few short minutes, we're going to have Paul and Texas Homer. We're going to be breaking down parts of this game, letting you guys know what is happening and what to look forward to. But this has been your roundtable. We really appreciate you being here. Enjoy your New Year's and your New Year's Day, full day of football. Thanks so much, guys. That's the wrong one. Do you guys want to do the end bumper? Let's do the end bumper.